We need your mic.
Oh, yeah.
Hello,
Hi.
Kevin. How nice
see
to
you.
meet you
Brilliant.
again
That's
after so
excellent.
many years.
Yeah.
Could we make an interview with you?
I'll be delighted.
I'll hand you over to Melle. Melle will do the interview.
Hi, Melle.
With you. Is that
Nice
okay?
to see you. Yeah.
Okay,
So where should we
thanks
go?
very
In
much.
here? Yeah. Let's go.
You've been equipped with an RFID implant with a chip in your arm.
Yep.
Do you miss them now they're gone?
Very much so. But the RFID was great. Things happened for me when I moved around. When that got taken out, suddenly they didn't. And it was quite disappointing. I actually felt as though a close relative had died. With the last implant, having another sense and being able to move robot arms makes you feel enormously powerful when you'll be able to do things just from your brain. So when the implant's taken out, suddenly you're just ordinary, normal again. Quite disappointing.
It's a bit of, you miss a bit about yourself, really.
I think you do. With an implant, very quickly you regard it, you think of it as being you. It's the same as somebody with a heart pacemaker or even an artificial hip. They don't think of it as being some separate technology. They think it's them. And the same with implants like this. Even an RFID implant, very quickly you think it's you. So when it disappears, something's missing.
Have you kept it in a jar somewhere?
No, both the implants that I've had so far are now in different science museums. The RFID went to London, and the other implant, for some strange reason, is in Naples.
So you're going to visit yourself again?
I like to visit, say hi, yes, to part of me.
You've been connected to your wife via an implant. How did it feel?
Fantastic. It was very simple connection. So when she moved her hand, my brain received a pulse. We had a direct electrical connection. So in my background, I'm a communications person. I worked for quite a few years in the communications sector, and carrying out a basic telegraphic communication like that was very, very important from the scientific research we were doing. And the fact that it actually worked, and I was sitting, I couldn't see my wife, I didn't know what was happening, and I received a pulse in my brain, and I knew that's my wife communicating with me. Absolutely fantastic.
Being connected directly to the internet via an implant, weren't you afraid to get hacked?
I think it is possible. I mean, we just had a connection within a sort of an intranet, as it were, so it would have been very, very difficult for somebody to hack into it.
But were you aware of it, that it would be possible?
It would be possible, yes. I mean, the same thing when I had my nervous system plugged into the internet, even more so. This was in New York, and we were doing the connection from my nervous system in New York to the UK. And I was online for about 2 hours, my nervous system with an IP address. Any time in that moment, if somebody had hacked in, if somebody had sent signals to this IP address, they would have been straight onto my nervous system.
And your arm.
And my arm, well, and
So
my brain. And my brain. People, a hacker would have been able to send, so what they would have done, don't know.
Did you limit the currents you could send?
Well, we didn't when I was online, other than the maximum value, which was something like, I think, 100 microamps, which it probably doesn't mean a lot, but it would have meant that if somebody had gone onto that IP address, they could have perpetually sent signals, ding, 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 and of the maximum value, and then what my brain would have made of that, I don't know. But you take risks as a scientist like that. You just hope that nothing goes wrong.
But there is an opportunity as well, because you theorize about cyborgs in the future and humans becoming a subspecies.
Yeah.
But how do these subspecies feel towards the cyborg?
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to be part of the subspecies, so that will be up to them. I think the key thing is for cyborgs, we're looking really, as I see it, as humans that are upgraded intellectually. So not only do they have the ability of their brain now, but extra memory, improved mathematical functioning from computers, multi-dimensional thought, new means of communication, new sensory input. So intellectually, the cyborg is way, way above the traditional human, as it were. So it becomes a philosophical argument, but it will be a realistic one in years to come. How will the cyborg treat the human, who is intellectually very much inferior?
And would the cyborg be several individual cyborgs, or will it be one connected cyborg?
Yes.
So we have only one cyborg to deal with that.
It depends how you're looking at it. I think there will be one network.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of the brains linked together, it is one distributed cyborg, but then you've got the individual physical elements, sort of nodes on this big network. So it is very different, and it changes Western philosophy at the moment.
Identities.
As humans, yeah, here's an individual, there's an individual. When our brains are all linked together, what does it mean to be an individual? It's a very different thing. So yes, they're an individual, and no, you're not an individual, as it is now.
As we evolve to cyborgs, viruses have a technical part, like the computer virus, but a human virus, lots of it's diseases.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to merge somehow into a hybrid?
I don't know merging, but I think there will be direct interaction. So biological viruses that we get within the body can be relayed via a network, and so will become some form of software signal, some electrical signal if you like, and vice versa. What could start life as an electrical virus, a software virus, then gets downloaded onto the biological system. Whether it would be virus to virus, you know, whether you get a direct translation, I don't know. It may be other signals electrically within a network become a biological virus, or a biological virus becomes some other signal within the network.
Just like a virus can change species.
Exactly, and become tougher and harder. So it's an interesting area. I mean, it's one of what you could say is a negative, but the viruses are one biological entity. They could take on different forms that change how you are in a biological sense. They could be a safety feature or improve your intellectual abilities. There's positive sides to it as well as negative.
So we have a Universal Declaration of Human Rights. How do you feel about a Universal Declaration of Cyborg Rights?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it depends how the human rights, if they are extended to try to limit cyborgs, that would be interesting. I don't know that that's right. I think having a declaration of cyborg rights would be a very good idea. The interesting thing will be how do they affect humans? Because
identity is a big part of those declarations.
Yeah, will be, yeah. And very much the collective becomes important. The individuals are part of that collective and are therefore important, but their importance is really there because of the collective. They're enhanced, they're upgraded because of the collective entity, and therefore the declaration, I'm sure there would be much less argument and differences in the cyborg declaration than there would be in any human declaration.
Because you don't have it about you don't have a declaration of other people, but about yourself, really.
It's about yourself, and there are a lot of common goals and common aims. You've still got some individual basis, but a lot of things would be very common. What's good for you is good for everyone.
Most of the news attention about you is focused on your being cyborg or having been a cyborg.
Yes.
What are you doing now?
For me, the most exciting thing I'm up to now, we've got rat neurons. So originally from a rat, we separate them using enzymes and then grow them on an electrode array. We've then linked them to a robot body. So we actually have a little robot. The brain of the robot we've grown from biological neurons. What we're looking to do now, rather than use rat neurons, is to use human neurons in the robot body, which technically is all quite possible. We haven't actually done it yet, but for me there's all sorts of questions as to ethically what do people think of that.
You think it would be more intelligent than a rat neurons?
There's nothing to say it would be. We'll find out. I mean, we don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to compare how the robot with a rat brain improves its performance over, say, a 1 month period in comparison with the robot with a human brain. I mean, as humans, we have an advantage with other creatures. We've got more cells. They're more highly connected. if you actually had the basis, you have the same number of brain cells as a monkey or a rat, then it would be interesting to make that comparison, which we should be able to do.
Because if the rat neurons develop way more quicker,
could be better. Could be better.
So
yeah.
the next cyborg won't be a human cyborg, but a rat cyborg maybe.
Or maybe a mixture. There's nothing to say we can't put rat and human neurons in together. A rumen or something, or a hat. I don't know what we would call this creature, this mixture.
Would be a nice horror movie, I guess.
Yeah, it would be interesting whether the neurons, I don't know, but whether the neurons could actually grow together, some sort of hybrid.
Because you're going to need to find the quickest developing neurons around.
Well, rats have been studied in labs around the world for many, many years. So with rat neurons, because rats are not that popular when it comes to research.
It's not fluffy.
Not fluffy, so they're used for experimentation. But it does mean a lot is known about culturing rat neurons, how to keep them alive, what to do, what not to do. With human neurons, far, far less research has been carried out. So there are more technical difficulties with it. Keeping them alive is a little more difficult. In fact, the types of neurons that are easiest to keep alive are what's called neuroblastomas. These are cancer cells, tumours.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, because they grow.
It's tough stuff. And you can culture them as neurons and get them, you know, we haven't done it yet, but we could have a robot that's actually driven around by cancer tissue. And that is really tough. You leave it out of the incubator and you think it's died, it looks dead. 2 days later, the neurons are firing again. It really is tough stuff.
Because they're broken, really. They don't know how to stop growing.
Don't have to, yeah, and they're very, very resilient to infection, to changes in temperature and so on. Much, much more so than either human or rat neurons, normal ones.
So where are you going next? after you've made a connection between a human brain cells?
I think for that research, the main thing is looking at how memories appear within the brain. There's a driver for helping with medical, such as Alzheimer's disease, when people lose their memory. I mean, clearly there, whether you're a human or a cyborg, living longer is an important thing. Can you do that? Well,
transhumanism.
Transhumanism, yeah. But living longer is one thing, but living healthier, I think, is also important. And whether you're a cyborg or a human, being affected by losing your biological memory is not a good thing. So if with the little cultures, with the brains, we can learn how do memories actually manifest themselves, and can we then apply stem cells, can we inject new neurons to enhance the memory, that will be useful for living longer and healthier.
Because there's nothing known about how memories are stored yet, right?
There's a lot of magic behind it. Susan Greenfield, who is a neuroscientist in the UK, very big name, only a few days ago, she was saying to me, well, memory is sort of all over the brain. Even a small memory is all over the brain, which to me, I thought, I don't know that I go for that. It's a bit like saying it's all magic. We don't really know what it is. I want to find out what it is. If with our little robot it gets into a position, how does the memory of that position actually manifest itself with these neurons here? Which neurons strengthen? I want to actually look physically at what's going on. Maybe she's right that it affects the whole of the brain. I don't think so. I think there are going to be particular pockets, particular connections that are drawn.
I would like to know if there's any memory in a stem cell.
Yeah, well, the stem cells certainly, I feel, would be part of a memory that you could use it. And this is the point, that if you could then inject stem cells into a brain that themselves become neurons taking on a memory function, then this could really enhance how a brain is working, ultimately in a human or a cyborg brain.
Well, I'll follow up someday, I guess.
Good, and join me with an implant.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.